Well, it's another setback for a controversial copper mine in the Chilcotin. A federal review panel reports highlights significant environmental and social concerns about this new Prosperity Mine proposal. 3 years ago, Ottawa rejected a previous version of the plan by Taseko Mines. A final decision on this project now rests with the federal cabinet as well. But First Nations are already celebrating. Chief Roger William is with the Hanigwitine First Nation.
We are really happy, very excited. The panel here ruled in our favor. During the panel process, not one Taseko or Hanigwitine were in favor of the project.
That's Chief Roger William of the Hanigwitine First Nation. Now on the line with us is Brian Battison, the Vice President of Corporate Affairs for Taseko Mines. Brian, good morning.
Good morning, Rick.
What's your reaction to this latest report, which is fairly damning?
Well, on balance, the report does not stop this project from being approved. The report, in many respects, agrees with our assessment. The risks are modest, and the social and economic benefits are enormous.
But you have to live and work in that community, and you heard the chief there saying they're celebrating the fact that this report is so negative and it looks like the mine may be stopped. How do you respond to that?
Well, we actually live and work in that community, the community of the Caribou. We have 700 people that work at our Gibraltar mine, which is the second largest open-pit copper mine in Canada. So we're a big part of the Caribou, and there are many views in that region on this project, and the vast majority of people in the Caribou support the project because of the jobs, economic value, and benefits that the project will bring to the region. So a lot of support, Rick, there.
We can talk about the jobs and the economic benefits in a moment, but I want to talk about, in this proposal, this revised proposal, you were trying to mitigate damage to Fish Lake by relocating the tailings facility. However, the panel found that your new plan wouldn't eliminate seepage into Fish Lake, so what do you do now? How do you respond to that conclusion?
Well, we strongly disagree with the panel's findings related to the impact on the potential water quality and its effect on Fish Lake, and we will be challenging those findings. The panel respectfully made a mistake. They chose to take one side of a debate that has already been adjudicated by independent experts, their own independent experts, in fact, who found Taseko's plan to be responsible and reasonable. So we think they made a mistake.
In the report, though, these are not minor concerns of this panel. The panel highlights, and I quote here, significant adverse effects, unquote, on water quality, fish and fish habitat in the lake. And this is based on what they call strong evidence from federal and provincial government agencies. So what do you know that the panel doesn't?
Well, that's what, when I say they took sides of the debate, they sided with a couple of individuals from government as opposed to their own independent experts that they hired to look at these questions around seepage. So, as with any big project, there's lots of opinions and lots of thoughts and lots of positions taken, and it's a job of the panel to try and sort through those to come up with a report and submit that report to the Government of Canada. Now, the Government of Canada is going to make a decision on the project. They'll take into consideration, of course, this panel report, but they'll take into consideration other information as well, including the interests of the country. What's in the best interest of Canada? Is it in the best interest of Canada to use or to have this project go forward in the proposed manner? And on balance, we certainly feel, and the evidence is overwhelmingly supportive of the project, and that it should be approved.
The panel raised concerns as well about the possibility of Aboriginal burial sites being buried under the tailing storage facility. That's perhaps part of the reason why the First Nations are so against this. What did your company do wrong when it came to consulting with First Nations on this?
Well, that's a puzzle about the burial grounds, because we spent $750,000 on an archaeological study that First Nations participated in, and in fact recommended the firm that we ultimately chose to do that work. And there was no evidence found of potential burial sites where they claim those burial sites now are. So we're a bit puzzled by that finding, and it's one of the issues that we take with the report. Now, we don't take issue with all of the report, because as I said off the top, the report agrees with our assessment for the most part, and that the risks are modest and the social and economic benefits are enormous. All of those things the federal government must take into consideration as it decides whether or not to approve this project.
I said we'd talk about the economic benefits here. What is the bottom line here? What will this mean to the community in terms of jobs and economic benefit to this entire community?
Well, over the 22-year operating life of the mine, it means thousands of jobs, about 57,000 person-years of employment, and it means billions of new tax revenues for the provincial and federal government. It's actually new tax revenues for the provincial government, $5.3 billion, and $4.8 billion for the federal government. So there's a lot of value and benefit in this project for people.
All right, Brian, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
You're welcome, Rick.
We'll continue to follow this story. Brian Battison, the Vice President of Corporate Affairs for Taseko Mines.